Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey here once again with another video on Superman and Lois, and this is going to be my review for episode 13 for this season. Season 2. This is the third last episode of the season, pretty crazy. And this episode is otherwise entitled All Is Lost, which going into the episode, I wasn't too sure exactly what that meant, but then at the end of the episode, I'm like, oh, okay, there is the potential for all to be lost. But of course, spoiler alert, if you've not watched the episode, I'm going to be going over everything this episode contains, as well as, of course, the big ending and where that leaves us off. But yeah, if you have watched the episode, you are continuing on with the video, be sure to let me know in the comment section down below your various thoughts, opinions, theories, predictions, general reactions to the episode. Always curious to read what you guys are thinking. And of course, if you're going to enjoy the video and you enjoyed the episode and just want to show your support, want to drop a like on the video. So last episode, we had like the fallout from the Superman reveal to Lana, and just that leads to like the breaking of ties with the Kent family and the Cushing family, just due to the secrets and everything like that, and just the effect that it could have specifically on the Cushing family. And we also see that Superman and Tal-Rho do destroy the pendant, and Tal-Rho does escape, which I think connects probably to what happens at the end of this episode, or at least a solution to it, or a temporary solution, not too sure, but I think that will connect. But speaking of, Tal-Rho, we actually see on the Bizarro world that the Bizarro Tal-Rho is killed by Ali through draining his power. He is drained dry, turns into like a zombie-looking corpse thing, and that's where we leave off. Yep, bit scary. But overall, this episode, I think, had a nice build to it. It started off a bit slow, and I know this sounds weird, but I love it when an episode starts slow, and you get that gradual building up, because I'm like, I know there's going to be a big ending. It happens with like almost every show I watch for some reason. But Superman and Lois, when it started, like that first 5 to 10 minutes was pretty slow. I'm like, I'm excited for the ending. I'm excited for the ending. And that's exactly how it played out. Just a really nice, I don't want to say subtle, but just nice gradual build up, which I think was the best way to handle this episode. But yeah, let's just jump into the actual breakdown of the episode. So we actually opened 5 years ago with some flashbacks with Ali in her early days of, I guess, like pushing her inverse method on the public through, books and everything like that. And at a book signing, this is where Lucy first comes in contact with Ali, and this is where Ali dives into Lucy's life and makes her feel important. Now, there are other flashbacks throughout the episode that just sort of sprinkled through that show the growth of Ali and Lucy's relationship and how she, I guess, mainly disconnected from Lois, but just sort of shifted her focus and love from her actual family to Ali and that side of things. So it just sort of shows once again that gradual build up in that relationship, just like the episode builds up gradually to a big end as well. With us also seeing in the present day towards the beginning that she is at a like residence or lodge thing with other followers of Ali. However, there are some that are leaving just due to how long Ali has been gone. So these are the less dedicated, I guess you could say, but there is some people just leaving this whole inverse method or inverse cult, whichever way you want to put it, just due to like the lack of Ali being around. Now, speaking of Ali, we have Superman scoping the world in search for her with no luck, and just assumes that she must be back on the Bizarro world, which we know she went back to at the end of last episode, at the very least, with Lois giving Clark the good advice to not go back and pretty much be a free meal for Ali, which I guess by the end of this episode, he ends up being a free meal as well, in regards to like, he puts himself there so someone else isn't, damaged. But if he went over to the Bizarro world, you just saw how quickly Ali, towards the end of the episode sort of deals with him. So imagine if he was on the Bizarro world by himself with no help. Yeah, you would have been dead. So thumbs up to Lois for the good advice there. Now, John Henry is working on like nulling Ali's powers effects on the steel suit, so she can't like drain his powers while he's in the suit. I guess if he's out of it, she can, but while in the suit, it's like a shield. I don't know which way you would word it. And while doing more work on it, John actually finds out about the other stuff or the other suit that Natalie has been working on. And of course, John isn't overly happy about it, and you can sort of understand why from his side, because he doesn't want his daughter going out there and potentially dying. We saw what happened to John earlier this season, but you also understand why Natalie is upset and feels like she's entitled as much as John to have a suit and go out in the field. And later on, John does learn that Natalie's suit is actually quite an impressive one and actually better than his in multiple ways. And this does open John up to the thought of Natalie helping out, and it's probably good because going forward, at least for the next episode, most likely, I think Natalie's probably going to have to help out. And I'd say even in the finale, definitely going to have to help out as well. Now, Clark does tell the boys about, like, I guess you'd call it like a restraining order of sorts that it's in place between the Kent and Cushing family, which of course doesn't please them, especially Jordan. And of course, it's going to be interesting to see where that plays off going forward. But we do cut to the Bizarro world where we do see the Bizarro, Lois, Sam. I don't think we saw Jordan. I think we saw specifically Lois and Sam. And they're looking at a TV and there's a report where Ali is addressing the world about her progress and the next step, which is merging the two worlds. And we even see like the Eiffel Tower looking a bit different. Now, Lois and Sam on the normal world, or the Earth Prime, go to the area, like the lodge where Ali's followers are, put up, where, of course, we saw Lucy at the beginning of the episode, with Lois and Sam trying to tell them and just make them realize just to move on and just alerting them of what is up with Ali. And everyone there is sort of curious and concerned that it is over, just because Ali's been gone for ages as well. There's no updates, so they think, well, maybe she has got to be a wacko because she hasn't been keeping us up to date with what's going on. But Lucy is sort of the roadblock in trying to get that information across, because that's what the flashbacks throughout the episode show. Like, she's the most dedicated and feels the most close to Ali, and probably feels that Ali is the most close to her, if that makes sense in regards to all these followers. So she's of course going to be the one that tries and protects what Ali's been trying to do and this whole setup. So yeah, she's definitely a tricky customer to deal with. But we will come back to that quickly, because there is a lot of stuff that happens in a row in that area. But Jordan goes to talk to Lana about this break between the families, and more specifically between himself and Sarah. And despite Jordan's attempts, Lana is pretty stern and just, no, like foot in the ground. And she was 100% in the right in that moment. Like, she was also just sort of like repeating what Clark said, to Jordan, and I guess Jonathan as well, but in a more just like straight up way, I guess. But as I sort of alluded to earlier, is Jordan really going to listen to Lana's request, or will he sort of, I guess, try and get involved with Sarah? And even though Lana, sort of questions herself in regards to what she's done, recently when she was talking to Kyle and stuff later on, I think this, brick wall might still stand up there, at least for now. Or at least maybe Jordan might try and respect it, or Lois might try and, push it upon Jordan. Not too sure. We'll have to wait and see. But then again, there could be so much stuff going on that Jordan has no choice but to just focus on other stuff outside of Sarah. Now, we do get an intervention of sorts between Sam, Lois, and Lucy feels like she was like unwanted and like a ball and chain, I guess you could say, on specifically Lois. But Lois never intended for Lucy to feel like that. And it was their mother's departure that just put a lot of stress on other areas of their lives that have caused the issues that we see nowadays. However, they are interrupted as they do come to good terms, or sort of good terms, when Ali arrives back on Earth Prime, flying above them like a god. And they really left us on a bit of a wait and see there, because we actually went and saw Clark take Jordan to start training him to make him feel a bit better and put his mind off Sarah. Taking Jordan to the Arctic, or around where the Fortress of Solitude is, where he did his training like we saw back in the pilot episode back in season 1. And we do see Jordan taking a leap of faith, or like a dive of faith, to, better learn his flying and control it and stuff like that. And it was disappointing that Jordan did not know what the Kessel Run is. However, when they do come back to the Kent farm, Jonathan was sort of like bailed on and isn't overly happy, and that's never really resolved in the episode, because meanwhile, while all that's going on with Clark and Jordan, Lois and Sam try to stop Lucy from helping out Ali, to really no avail, with Ali wanting Lucy to reveal where Superman is so she can take his power to help towards the merging of the two worlds. However, Lucy is the one that has the Superman pager, sort of calling device, after taking it from her father earlier in the episode. Now, Lucy does hesitate on calling Superman, with Ali attacking Sam with her powers due to this, which does eventually force Lucy to call in Superman. With Superman taking over Sam's place pretty much as soon as he arrives, and I guess luckily Chrissy Beppo came with Sam and Lois and was just sort of chilling in the car, but went about on her own shortly after, and is able to call John Henry, who arrives with Natalie. Now, John's kinetic hammer, which we've seen previously even with Ali knock her away, there's no smashing away Ali this time. She just sort of flicks it back at him. Now, Superman, however, is drained with no heartbeat. He's pretty much dead on the ground at that point. And there's no luck from Natalie in reviving him initially. However, with maximum power, they are able to get Superman back and kicking. And, they've got a heartbeat and everything like that. But at this point, Jesus Christ Almighty, Lucy, now do you see that Ali is a monster? Jesus Christ, talk about I told you so. She should get it tattooed on her forehead. Oh, I should have listened. Never believe me. That should be on her head. What the hell? Why would you not listen to them? Anyway, Now her dad almost died and she pretty much almost got Superman killed. So hopefully now she'll listen. Now, luckily, Sam does wake up with Lucy by his side. And there's a bit of a reconnection moment there. I'm very curious to see Lucy and Lois one-on-one. I think that's the curious encounter that a lot of people want to see. So can't wait to see that, most likely next episode. But Superman is still unconscious. He's still knocked out. He got the heartbeat going, but he's knocked out. And he is a bit different as his skin is now vulnerable to blood being drawn, which it shouldn't be. Even in other instances where he would be knocked out, they wouldn't be able to draw blood like they can here. So there is this possibility that Superman, well, won't be super. He'll just be man. The man? The man? No, not even the man. Wouldn't that be that, great by himself. He'd just be man. Clark Kent, a man. That's pretty much what he would be. And over this, at least next episode specifically, others are going to have to pick up the slack. Like, they're going to have to pick up the slack, which is why it's good, I guess, that we have Natalie now in that suit. And I guess that now Jordan has somewhat of a better control over his powers. But even then, there should have been, like, obviously Clark or Superman would have, planned to train him much, much more than just that one afternoon of training. So it's going to be interesting to see how they handle it, especially against Ali, who is now all powerful. But speaking of Ali, who knows if she'll even be the one having to deal with them, because we actually have Ali delegating Bizarro Lana to finishing off Superman. So I guess she's going to be that physical threat that they're going to have to deal with next up. So they're going to have to try and protect Superman's, unconscious body, I guess you could say, in the DOD. So you're going to have probably Jordan with Natalie and John Henry specifically, I guess, defending Superman against Bizarro Lana. I'm expecting that's what's going to be next episode, but because Ali's not going to be there because Ali is a bit busy. She's beginning her merge of the two worlds due to now having enough power after draining Superman. Now, the big question is, will she succeed? This is going to be a very interesting thing to see. Are we going to see in the finale, for example, the worlds actually merge? Like, she actually succeeds in merging them, because hopefully it's not like a spirit bomb or something from Dragon Ball Z where, Ali is just for like an entire episode or like an entire episode and a half is just merging, and they get close and then she just gets knocked away and then there's like a quick final battle. Hopefully there's something that plays out that's pretty cool. The only thing I'm wondering is, like, what happens when the worlds merge? Like, that's got to have an effect, because it's important to remember we still have Lois alive on the other Earth, Sam still alive on the other Earth, and Jordan alive on the other Earth, with the other Jonathan, with both Jonathans being on Earth Prime. And we're just assuming that when the worlds merge, the people merge as well. And the only ones that might remain the same are the ones that don't have a doppelganger on the other Earth at that time, whether it's that they're dead or they just don't exist or whatever it might be. So I'm incredibly curious to see what happens if the worlds do merge and if there's a reverse. Yeah, we only got 2 episodes left, so it's pretty crazy. But unfortunately, there's no episode next week. We take another week off. It sucks. This wasn't meant to happen. We were meant to get the final 4 episodes in a row, but then they changed it to 2 episodes on, 1 week off, 2 episodes on. So we have another week off, and then we're going to have the final 2 episodes back to back. So at least we get those final 2 episodes in a row. That'd be very annoying if we had, hey, here's the second last episode and then another week's break off and then the finale. So at least we can take a breather and build up to these final 2 episodes, because I have a feeling they're going to be insane, because the trailer for next week's episode, or the next episode, when I say not next week's episode because we got the break, but the next episode didn't even really show that much. It sort of kept it contained. So I think they're hiding a lot from what was, going to be in that episode. But of course, this episode, as I said, I think it had a really steady and gradual build up, which I do enjoy, because you just know you're going to get a big ending. That's exactly what happened. So I really enjoyed this episode, and pretty much setting up these final 2 episodes, which usually do play off as like a 2-parter for most shows. So can't wait to see what happens, and just very curious to see what happens with Ali and the merging, as well as what happens with Superman as well. Can't wait. Yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like and it shows support. Let me know in the comment section down below your various opinions on everything we went over. Always curious to read what you guys are thinking. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, and I will catch you guys later. Goodbye.